decent, I promise.
Okay, welcome back to another Power Trip Retrospective.
Whoa!
Yeah!
How's it going? Mine's better. That's bad. That's bad. So this game, shit.
So we're talking about Legend of Zelda.
In case you haven't figured that out.
Game 16, we played, it was Legend
Original
of Zelda.
LZ.
Yep.
Holy shit. Do we even need to review this one?
We'll say our pieces on it, but honestly, no, it's obviously it's gonna get high rankings.
Oh, so. Absolutely. This game is the very definition of iconic.
It is.
It is one of the most powerful IPs on the planet.
Yes, I would say, in the world of video games, yeah, it's probably one of the most iconic, probably right behind Super Mario Brothers. And Mario, yeah.
I fucking splashy.
But outside of Mario, I would say that Zelda is the next most iconic and well-known video game IP ever created.
Absolutely.
And again, it was the brainchild of Shigeru Miyamoto.
Miyamoto as fuck, man. Dude's a genius.
So the game was released in America on, of all days, August 22nd, 1987. So, yeah. And the game was the brainchild of Shigeru Miyamoto, who had said that he wanted to try something that reminded him of when he was a kid exploring in the woods. And so that was basically what Zelda was. And as you're going through the game, it really does. It feels like you're a kid who is exploring the woods, the wilderness. You're exploring these underground caves in the form of dungeons. It really is. It was a kid's game designed for kids by a big kid. So that's literally what it was. So I think that's why it hit so many good points when it came out.
And for any of you kids out there that play Breath of the Wild, this is where it started.
This is where it all started.
Surprisingly, the prototype of Breath of the Wild was in this style.
Yes, it was.
Yes.
Yeah, exactly.
And did you know Legend of Zelda almost didn't come out over here?
Seriously.
One of the developers, I think, did not think Americans would have the patience to learn and play this game.
Oh, to play the style game, because there was really nothing that... There was nothing like it beforehand.
Zero context. Zero direction. Zero... Anything goes in this fucking game.
Well, I don't know if anything goes, but there are definitely hints that are given to you throughout the game, but they, in and of themselves, are extremely cryptic, too, in just the way that they're worded and what they're referring to.
There's no waypoints. There's no... Nothing tells you where to go. It was literally just exploring around like a chicken with your dick cut off. This game, holy shit, it was one of the first open world games that I can think of.
Yeah, no, it really was. It was literally open to the point no other, at least Nintendo game, no other game before it was really open, kind of like in that open sandbox style.
At least not on Nintendo anyway.
And it's funny because the game was so immense too that this was actually the very first video game that ever had a battery save backup.
Bam.
Yeah.
Batteries is shit.
It was the first ever. And it's funny because those batteries are designed, and they say on the cartridges, or not on the cartridges, but on the box, I think, or instruction booklet, that they're supposed to last about 5 years. 1987, so your battery is only good up until 1992.
My game still works.
Which is funny because I think a lot of people are still playing with those same batteries, and their games are saving just fine. So it's really just, it's crazy.
But it's kind of funny because there are some games that'll play, the batteries are fine.
Mm-hmm.
But then you go to Super Nintendo, some of the games, the batteries are dead.
Just dead.
My Pokemon Gold and Silver copies,
dead.
Batteries are dead.
Yep.
Holy shit.
Mm-hmm.
Like, how?
Dead as Dillinger.
I don't know what did it. I don't know why they die. I don't know. It's one of those things. I wonder if it has anything to do with that warning of holding reset while pressing power. I never understood that.
I never did that as a kid. I never understood why you would want to push reset before you push power, because then your game is going to reset anyways. So I think it's more of it's not a hard turnoff. It's a soft turnoff because you're resetting and then pushing the power, so it's not as damaging to the... Not as big a draw to the battery. I don't know.
I don't know either, man. But shit, we could go on.
Yeah.
This could be a very long video if we wanted to.
Yeah, very much so. There's so much to say about this game.
But we'll about this franchise in general. I could go on for days. But we'll stick with this first one. So let's get into it. difficulty. You are the one that played this.
Man.
So, I have already formulated my difficulty from this morning. I was thinking about it in my head while I was showering, soaping up my Andy body, and I thought up the difficulty for it I was in the mindset of 9-year-old Andy playing this. So would you like me to go first?
I'm gonna go first, and I'll give you my opinion on it, and I will let you know why I came to that conclusion, and then I'll listen to yours.
Okay.
Or would you rather go first?
It's up to you, buddy. It's all yours.
I'm gonna go ahead and say this. Difficulty on this game, 4. I give it a 4.
That's not what I thought you were going to say.
I had a feeling you weren't.
Wow.
I had a feeling you weren't. It would not.
Convince me, my friend.
I'm thinking only in terms of the first the first quest.
Okay.
Yep. We're not going into the second quest because that just kind of ramps up the difficulty to the nth degree. So with the difficulty of the game, it gets a 4. You have a save feature. You have unlimited continues. And yes, it's going to be difficult. It's going to be time-consuming because you don't know where you're going. But the difficulty will continue to get easier and easier the more you explore, the more you find, the more heart pieces you get. Yes, there's going to be difficult points where you're going up against the 3-headed dragon for the first time, or the 4-headed dragon. What's his name? Gleox, that's right. When you go up against Gleox for the first time, some of the bosses, the Manhandlas, are going to be really just difficult and hard to kind of deal with. But at the same time, you've got tools that will also make it a heck of a lot easier. You'll get a more powerful sword. You'll get a more powerful shield. You'll get you can get the blue ring, which will cut your damage in half. You'll get the red ring, which will cut your damage into a quarter of what you would normally take. Mm-hmm. So I mean, there's a lot of different things that will go into this game that make it easier and easier as you go through. And playing this game as much as I have, I mean, you can literally get the white sword and the blue ring really early on in the game that just completely just destroys the difficulty of the game completely. So I think giving it a 4, maybe it would be, I would say a 5, just because of the fact that there's no set order of doing the dungeons, and having to find the dungeons if you didn't have Nintendo Power, or you're not going on Google or anything like that, or online to look up walkthroughs. That's probably going to be the most difficult part of this thing, is just finding this stuff and finding out what to do. So, I mean,
4.
At most, I would give it a 5. I'll give it a 5 just because of how cryptic it can be, and how, if I was an outsider going through it, yeah, it's going to take me a lot of time because I'm spending a lot of time exploring. I can't give it more than that.
Wow! I'm actually surprised by that. I would have thought...
What is that higher than what
okay, like I said, I was basing this difficulty because the first time I experienced this game, I was 8 years old.
Okay,
even as an adult, like, you died a few times in our playthrough out of probably carelessness and
I died once.
You died 3 times.
Oh, was it 3 times?
Wizrobes ate the shit out
of you. I hate the goddamn Wizrobes. Hate them.
Andy Z's difficulty for Legend of Zelda, I give it a 6.
Bullshit.
Hear me out.
Okay.
Yes, you have the white sword. Yes, you have the magical sword. You have the blue ring. You have the red ring. If you find them, your very first time through this game, when you were a kid, did you ever find those things?
Yes.
Did you really?
I did.
I never got the white sword. I never got the blue ring. So I had the wooden sword until I had the master sword. The Wizrobes beat the shit out of me.
You didn't have the master sword in the first Legend of Zelda.
Oh, I'm sorry, it was a magical sword. My bad.
Fun fact.
You're right.
The master sword did not actually come into existence until Link to the Past on the Super Nintendo.
Very true, thank you.
The big bad sword of the original Zelda was the magical sword.
That's true. And it wasn't in Zelda 2. You didn't get a sword.
Nope.
Nor was it in Link's Awakening.
No.
You actually got a level 2 sword, I believe they called it.
Yeah.
But, so I had only the wooden sword.
Okay.
And you gotta remember, I didn't get the heart pieces. I got the red potions.
I can't make it more difficult based on your stupidity, though.
No. Because you have to understand, your first time through this, you're not going to know where anything is. And if you're not using Google, you're not using walkthroughs, you're not using that stuff, those whiz ropes, even the knights, the, what are they called? Stalfos? No,
it's
Dark Nuts.
The Dark Nuts, yeah.
Dark Nuts were fucking brutal.
They were hard. They were
brutal. So, I mean, that game is actually really difficult. And even you knowing what you did still got your ass handed to you by the whiz robes. Especially the blue ones. So, I mean, you can't say this game's easy. Gleeox is a fucking pain in the ass with the wooden sword.
Yeah, but I didn't face Gleeox with the wooden sword.
No, you did.
I already had the white sword by that point.
Oh,
he was a walk in the
park. Yeah, he's easy. But I'm just saying, the game, in and of itself, like you said, there's zero context. It's very cryptic. Nothing is told to you. You have to find everything.
Well, here's one little piece of it that I did forget and this is one thing that I grew up with because actually my aunt had this game.
Really?
And she had the classic edition, the re-release, the reissue, the Great Card one, yeah. But she had the game complete, so I mean, it came with the instruction booklet, it came with the map. And so you lay out that map. Yeah, you don't have all the tools and the pieces, but you know exactly what items are in that game.
That's a good point.
And you have a general idea of where they are. They even give you marks on the map, like where you do get the blue ring in the shop that has the blue ring in the first quest. It doesn't tell you the location on the map. However, though, in that box of the screen on the map that you have, there's a question mark. So you already know
so you know something's there.
There's something up here. What's there?
And fuck.
And so I'm saying
I'll lower it to a high five.
So I'm saying it's not as cryptic as you would think if you were given all the tools. Now, if you're buying this recently, where obviously, I mean, you're probably
ways.
just gonna you're probably just gonna get card only, so you're not gonna have the instruction booklet or the map. It may be a little bit more difficult, but back then, 8 or 9 year old, you picked this game up in a store, you had a lot of tools that they had given to you.
That's true.
Yes, it's still going to be difficult, and maybe I'll bump my 4 up to a 5 because of the fact that those Dark Nuts, I did forget about those. I hate them because their move patterns are so completely and utterly random that it still to this day, it annoys me.
Yeah.
I'm going up against those guys because they are just so freaking smart when it comes to that.
And those whiz robes.
And the whiz robes, still to this day, hated them the first time that I ever met them when I played this game when I was 7 years old, and still, 25 years later, I hate the whiz robes just as much as I did then, because they still can school me, and it's very easy to just to get pwned by them in a very short amount of time because they are doing a lot of damage.
Yeah. All right, you are right. You know what? I'll lower my 6 to a high 5. It's a little above middle of the road just because it's a pretty difficult game. It takes a lot of know-how.
And it's long.
You have infinite continues, but even when you come back, you only start with 3 hearts.
That's true.
So you got to go back and get health and
maybe farm and stuff. Yeah.
So that's, it's no walk in the park.
No,
but nor is it impossible.
By no means is it a walk in the park, but it's definitely doable.
Yeah.
Very easy game, very fun to go through.
Was it ever in a Nintendo Power? I would have assumed so.
It was in the very first issue.
There you go.
Mm-hmm.
And then the only reason...
There was a fold-out map, actually, in the very first issue, too. Of the second quest, I believe.
Oh, my God.
Yeah.
What would be your difficulty for the second quest?
Oh, jeez.
That I'm going 7.
I would say at least 7.
Yeah.
I would be hesitant to go as high as an 8, but I would say 7 just because there's a lot of stuff that does a lot more damage early on.
Mummies. Or Gibdos, I think
the Gibdos...
right in the second dungeon.
Well, the Stalfos actually in the first they actually throw swords in the second quest.
Yeah, that's right.
And those take away 2 hearts. And so when you only have 3 hearts available, you're gonna die really fast. So they make it hard from the get-go. So it's kind of like the first quest kind of sets you up and sets the tone so that you kind of understand the game, and then you get into the second quest where it's just kind of baptism under fire at that point.
Really?
So
and everything is randomized, or not randomized, but everything's in a different spot.
Yes.
Dungeons can be arranged. In random bushes.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
I think one of the labyrinths is in the upper right corner. You push a block and there's a dungeon. You're like,
you don't push a block. You actually walk through the wall.
Oh, there you go.
Or that was something that they did in the second quest too, where there was special items in the dungeons where you literally had to walk through the walls, and there was sometimes one-way doors or one-way walls where you could walk through one way, but you couldn't walk out the same way. So
I to this day have never beaten the second quest.
I've beaten the second quest. It's
very arduous.
Yeah, it's very satisfying to beat it, but man, it is definitely tough. It is definitely tough.
The farthest,
at least a 7.
I think in the second quest, the farthest I've ever gotten is to the last labyrinth, or not the last one, but the second to last one. Oh. I didn't have the bow. I could never find the bow, no matter how hard I tried.
Gotcha.
So I couldn't kill Goma. So that was as far as I ever got as a kid. And yeah, the second quest is no fucking joke.
Yeah, no, it's hard. It's hard.
Yeah, I mean, so all right, high five.
There's actually one point I have to point out though in the second quest is the 4th dungeon. It's the first 5 dungeons are actually arranged in the letters of Zelda, not in Zelda order, but the 4th one is the D, and that one you actually, after you beat the boss, you're in the Triforce room. You actually have to walk through the wall, and then there's an additional like 3 or 4 rooms so that you can get the raft. And and then you have to go back to the Triforce to get the piece. So it's like once you're actually at the end, you think, oh, well, this is it. No, you continue walking past the wall, and at that point, it's just that's when I was like, this shit's for real. Holy cow! Yeah. So it was tough.
I'm about to say, I remember the bosses not really being that challenging, other than Gleeox maybe.
Manhandle was difficult because the more pieces he had, the 4 different directional like heads, and the more heads you took off, then the faster he would get. Dig Dogger was actually when he split up into 3 eyes instead of just 1 eye. That could be a little bit tricky, but once you had the magical sword, it literally took 1 hit per eye, so it wasn't too terribly difficult. So
all right, well, fuck it. We'll move on to fun.
So fun, I want to hear your fun first before I actually go into mine, because you may slap me for it.
So it's no surprise if anybody's watched our show here. Zelda 2 is my favorite Zelda of all time. I love Adventure of Link. Surprisingly, this one... I know. Surprisingly, this one did not bear as much fun for me. And it's actually like my 3rd or 4th favorite title, but I'm still going to give this one like a 7 or 8 for fun.
Wow.
I spent
a
very long time as a child playing this game, and I absolutely adored it.
Yeah.
It's such a satisfying experience. Especially that first time you kill Ganon, you feel so empowered.
Oh, yeah.
Getting through Ganon's labyrinth was just a pain in the ass.
Oh, it was huge. It was a big skull. It was literally a humongous skull. It was great.
And then on top of that, you accidentally get to Ganon, but you don't have the silver arrows. You're not killing him.
No, you're done. And then the door seals, so you have no choice but to just either reset or die, so that you start at the beginning of the labyrinth.
So I remember as a child getting to him, I'm like, oh, fuck yeah, Ganon. And then I hit him a few times, and then he stops, and I'm like, all right, well, now what do I do? And then my older brother came and he's like, oh yeah, you need the arrows. I'm like, fuck! Like, I mean, I didn't say that as a child. Well, yeah, I kind of did. In my mind, anyway.
Of course you did.
But, yeah, so, I mean, 7 or 8, man. This game is...
As far as my fun...
Definition of classic to me.
This one, I don't know, have we given a game a perfect score, a 10? Super Mario Brothers?
Not conjoined.
Okay.
I gave Guardian Legend, I think, a 9 or a 10.
Okay.
But I don't think you and I have ever both agreed on it.
Okay. Because I think that this game, and I give it a 9 with very close to a 10. Because as I was thinking about this game is nearly perfect. I loved the aspect of it. I love the exploration. I love the look of it. I love that there's different areas in the map where you have green areas, you've got dark, like, dead-looking tree areas and stuff, you've got the Lost Woods, you've got a graveyard, you've got everything. You're by bodies of water where you can actually hear the sound effects of, like, the waves crushing and stuff like that. I mean, it was ingenious. You've got the 8 different dungeons, you've got Ganon's dungeon, which is just one big, massive one. The variety of enemies is actually pretty astounding. For a game this early on in development, it is insane how many different enemies that you will encounter throughout the entire game.
Mm-hmm. It was very wealthy.
It was very well done.
And what it was done.
It was an RPG, action RPG, before really RPGs were really defined in the United States.
This was 87,
This was 87.
That's true. Final Fantasy wasn't until 89.
Yeah, and Dragon Warrior didn't come out until 1990. So, I mean, this was years before its time where it really kind of introduced us to a new element of gameplay where you just, as you went on your journey, you got stronger, you got bigger, you got more fierce because you got better items, you got better swords.
There's that sense of progression.
There was a sense of progression. The only gripe, and it really isn't necessarily a gripe, but the more I thought about it, the more I thought one of the things that's the most iconic about Legend of Zelda is the music.
Absolutely.
The music is phenomenal. From the opening music, it really sets the standard. And then you've got that overworld theme where it's just kind of like you're ready to explore. It's, and then you've got the sinister music of the dungeons. And it's just, I think it fits the atmosphere so well, that
really
music of the dungeons. But
just that feeling.
But when you really boil it down, the music in the dungeons is like maybe a 15 to 20 second musical loop.
Right, it's not much to it.
There's not much to it. The overworld theme is really not that long, and it just loops over and over and over again. And then the intro music is, I mean, something different. You got the intro and the ending music.
So there's 4 songs.
There's 4 songs in the game. I mean, and that's why I was like, I thought to myself, wait a minute, this has such an iconic soundtrack, but then when you really think about it, there's really not many variety of songs in there.
No, there were actually games with much better soundtracks.
Yeah, there really was. And so I'm not taking anything away from the soundtrack, but that would be my only thing that keeps this game from being that perfect 10 in my mind, is I will give it a 9 with as close as it can possibly be to being a 10 without being a 10, because I feel like the music, while it was fantastic, that was one aspect of it that they really just didn't, I don't know, it wasn't as developed.
Well, it's funny because it actually almost could have been worse, because when they were originally designing this game, they almost considered just using stock music.
Stock music of what?
I don't know. They must have like some collection of songs.
Oh, so basically just not Koji Kondo music. Right. It was other stuff that was okay.
Yeah,
gotcha.
But then they're like, no, we might as well do the full package.
Yeah, no.
Which is good, because I mean these songs have followed this series to this day.
Which is fantastic, because not only should Shigeru Miyamoto get credit for, I mean, his idea of bringing Zelda to life through Legend of Zelda, as he did with Super Mario Brothers when that first came out. But the musical compositions were done by Koji Kondo, who is the same guy who worked on the Super Mario Brothers theme as he did Legend of Zelda. So for everybody who just kind of holds Shigeru Miyamoto in such high esteem, you need to hold Koji Kondo in very high esteem as well, too, because
Absolutely.
Without his iconic music, I don't know if Shigeru Miyamoto would have actually been as prolific or as iconic as he was without the backing of the strong compositions
Absolutely.
that came with those games. So give Koji Kondo some credit where credit is definitely deserved for it.
Absolutely, man. This game is, like I said, we could go on and on and on and on about this.
It's still one of my favorite games of all time. I can pick this game up and play it and just be as happy as I was the first time I ever played it. It may be happier now because I know exactly where I'm going and I know how to do it. But still, there was nothing that quite felt like a Zelda game when you're first exploring, you're first trying to make your little crude maps and stuff, going from square to square in the dungeons and plotting out like, okay, you can't go through this wall, you can bomb this wall, and this door has a key, and just kind of exploring and just finding this new land. It's just it was such a good and satisfying feeling.
It really
was.
The game was phenomenal.
It really was.
But fuck, there you go. I mean, so like I said, we could go on and on and on about this. Who knows?
Yeah.
Maybe someday, if Paul and I ever do podcasts of some sort, maybe Zelda will be an episode unto itself.
So moving on to the last aspect, though, is it worth it?
What did you pay for Legend of Zelda?
So fortunately enough, I've never paid for this game because I grew up with it. My aunt, I inherited a copy of the re-release, the reissue edition, the Great Cart from her. When she got rid of her Nintendo and stuff, I got all of that stuff. So I got that, and then I've had at points, I've had multiple copies of
Oh, yeah.
Zelda just because, I mean, it's
common as water.
It's a common game. There was a lot of them made. This game sold millions upon millions of copies.
This is one title.
I've never paid for it, so
this is definitely one title where you could go to pretty much any retro game store and
they're
you
always
will
going to
see
have it. They're always going to have it.
Gold cart, gray cart, what have you. This will always be there.
I was going to say the gray cart is, ironically enough, it's a little bit more uncommon than the gold cart. However, I will say, by no means is it rare. It's not a rare game. Even the re-released one, it's not rare. And definitely the gold-plated cartridge is not rare by any means. It's very common. So, according to PriceCharting.com, yes,
Legend of Zelda for the NES goes for $19.19. Is it worth it?
Sold. Sold.
Absolutely.
Hands down. This one, as common as it is, if you love the Nintendo, there is no reason not to have this one in your collection.
Absolutely.
This is constantly, not just in the top 5 Nintendo games of all time. Like, this is in people's lists of best games ever of all time. So this was one of the games that literally defined the Nintendo and what it was capable of. So honestly, at $19, that's a steal.
Absolutely.
In my mind, that's a steal.
Complete, I think this game was going for about $68.
I would still pay it because the box
for complete, absolutely.
Because the box is awesome. Actually, I've got the game complete, and it's got that little square too, so that you could see that it was a square that was cut in the box, so that you could see the gold cartridge through it.
The instruction booklet was so fun. I loved it. The illustrations were so good.
It's got a great story in there.
Yeah.
It's comes packaged with a map, and then the instruction booklet as well too, but the map actually gives you a walkthrough of both the first and second labyrinth, and gives you an overworld map too. It doesn't give you all of the information, but it gives you a nice little preview so that you can kind of find certain things, but then kind of make the rest of it your own. So it definitely worth it. If you're a completist, I would say it's worth it to have this, just because it's so iconic. And if you are a person who loves retro video games, Zelda's got to be in your collection.
It's quintessential, man.
It is. I'm sorry.
I'm about to say, this game defined an entire genre of games. I mean, how many clones can you possibly think of? I mean, Newtopias for the, I believe that was not Neo. Neo Geo, maybe?
You know more than I would.
Or TurboGrafx. I don't remember. But they were essentially Zelda clones. Darksiders for
the
360 was literally a 3D Zelda clone.
Yeah, they said that it was heavily influenced, and they were not shy about that. It was heavily influenced by The Legend of Zelda for Nintendo.
A lot of games have copied this formula with pretty decent success, I would say. I mean...
Yeah, definitely.
Yes, I wish this Breath of the Wild was a breath of fresh air, because it went back to its original Zelda roots. But damn, dude, even Hyrule Warriors was a Dynasty Warriors-esque Zelda, and it translated perfect. The only thing this franchise is missing is like a true RPG style.
Yeah, like a turn-based style RPG, because they've never done anything like that. But I don't think they have. I don't think they have to.
No, absolutely not.
I think they really just defined the genre, and they made it their own, and so that kind of became the standard going forward. So
fuck, dude.
Yeah.
I mean, it's really hard to
say about this.
It's hard to do this game justice.
No, it really is.
Can't make it live up to the legend.
I see what you did there. That was clever.
Hit us up on Facebook. Hit us up on Twitter. Go to PowerTripGaming.tv. Takes you right to this channel.
And we will have a link in the description where you can a link.
I saw what you did there.
In the description where you can check out our playthrough of Legend of Zelda. It was one of my all-time favorites, just because I love this game so freaking much. So check it out.
I think soon we'll actually do a playthrough of the whole second quest.
That would be cool.
I would love to do a second quest run on this channel.
I still know most of the second quest, so
it would be one that'd be a new experience for me, because I've never beaten it.
Oh yeah,
so
interesting.
Fuck.
All right,
there we go. Next time on Power Trip Retrospective,
we'll review something better, and that's a damn lie, because that's really not going to happen.
That's really hard. It's
hard to top this one.
It really is.
Very hard to top.
The only thing for me that would top it would either be a Guardian Legend or a Zelda 2.
That's true.
And that's not the next time.
And neither one of those is coming up.
Not for a while. So this one's great, man. See you next time.
All right.
We're trying to do it with Joker face. Legend of Zelda!
Legend of Zelda! Yeah, you messed up.
I'm waiting for you to pick it up! This is gonna be the worst opening ever.
Of course it is. It's not even an opening. No.
It's Power Retrospective.
Of course. Yeah, no. Let's start this over again.
No!
Yes!
No. Alright,
Oh my god.
This will probably still be, you know I edit these.
I know you do, which is why it's gonna still be in, and I just don't...
This is the hottest opening we've ever had, motherfucker.